Okay, Gavin. So tell us, what is entrepreneurship?
Artrepreneurship is a free 2-day event for artists from Montreal. It consists of 2 days worth of workshops that cover a bunch of stuff that artists need to know to scale their artistic practice, including juggling multiple revenue streams, whether that's a day job or courses or producing or directing or corporate work, all the way to legal, how to build your brand on social media. And this is a program that is supported by the English Language Arts Network and funded by Canadian Heritage.
So, what is unique about the methodology of this sort of approach of building artistic practice?
Here in Canada, we have the opportunity and privilege to be businesses just as a human. Like Gavin Seal is born, and pretty much from the get go, I'm able to operate a business, generate revenue, incur expenses. That's what artists do, whether we like it or not, whether we perceive it or not. And here in Quebec in particular, there seems to be this cognitive dissonance between the words business and artist. And especially when you talk to organizations like SODEC and Calc, they're really triggered by the term business. And that's because what they usually mean is corporation. Artists are inherently businesses. And this program uniquely embraces that because the reality is you need to make money to make art. And ideally, your art makes money so you can make more art. And it's at this intersection that I believe we have something really unique to provide. And that comes from programs like the Berlin Alley Fiction Toolbox, the Yave Access BIPOC producer program with National Screen Institute, funded by the Canada Media Fund, the TIFF Lab, Real World E20, the QEPC mentorship program, having also participated on things like trade missions with Futurepreneur, who's a partner on this program, or Rezo, the Racial Equity Screen Office in BC, who just sent me on a trade mission to Hong Kong. I think what I've been able to kind of digest uniquely is bringing that entrepreneurial lens to being an artist that I don't think is actually unique, like nationally or internationally, but I think it's pretty unique in Quebec.
Sounds like a great initiative. Can you tell me, why do filmmakers need to have corporations?
Yeah, absolutely. So this program is for artists from marginalized communities in Montreal with corporations. And so essentially the target demographic, so to speak, is myself 3 years ago. I was lucky enough to get laid off from a job at Shopify. That was basically my day job. And so I was able to commit myself to my filmmaking practice full time. These opportunities allowed me to expand my mindset beyond what I'd previously been taught for 15 years, which was the Quebec way of doing things, waiting for Calc and waiting for SODEC. Over the course of time, as I learned more, I also realized that these systems, the Quebec provincial funding systems, are not actually designed to support all Quebecers equally. Their main objective, mandate, is to protect the French language by funding French projects, which in practice leads to over 95% of projects based on available data going to basically French white Quebecers. So once I learned this data, I was like, okay, so it's not me or my projects. This system isn't made for me. And within 6 months, I had raised 100K from Ontario, California, federally, and now I've even gotten more money from BC than I have Quebec. So yeah, I realized this isn't the right environment for me. Fortunately, I was able to dedicate myself to learning how to make films outside of the Quebec system that isn't built for people like me. And now, 3 years later, I want to share that knowledge with the community here at Montreal. That's why I pitched this course, this workshop to ELAN and the Canadian Heritage. I'm excited that we were accepted. And so, yeah, if you're in a similar spot where you have come to the realization that the traditional Quebec funding models aren't for you, if you are working in languages other than French, if you are from a marginalized community, whether you're racialized or First Nations, if you are deaf or working with a disability, this is a series of workshops for you. Essentially, the intention of this program that Canadian Heritage developed with Elan is to build bridges between communities. And that's what I'm trying to do with this program, because organizations like SODEC, the last annual report showed that their priority was to essentially prioritize people who voted for the CAC. And so it's clear that we in our communities can't rely on the same funding models. And so that's where, fortunately, capitalism and entrepreneurship present the best opportunity for us to continue making money so that we can make more art.
And can you clarify, why do the filmmakers need to have corporations?
So the reason that the artists selected to participate in the workshops for this program have to have corporations to be eligible is because to leapfrog and overcome the Quebecois system, The reality is, other than Canada Council for the Arts, you need a corporation to make films, in my opinion. But that's what influences why corporations are necessary. There's a common misconception here in Quebec, and I think it comes from something being lost in translation, that I've noticed that organizations tend to get triggered in Quebec when you mention being a business or operating a business. I think this comes from a mistranslation of entreprise that is interpreted as corporation. But the reality is, in Canada, we have the privilege, we have the opportunity to function as businesses, just as a person. You're born, your name's Gavin Seal. You can start operating as a business that generates revenue and obviously incurs expenses. As an artist, that's what you do. Whether you're investing sweat equity or you're getting a grant and you have expenses, every artist is a business. But I think because of some sort of loss in translation thing, there's sensitivity about artist versus corporation that gets misconstrued as artists cannot be businesses, which is inherently untrue legally. So my belief that is informed from attending those workshops, that informs holding this workshop, is that unfortunately we need corporations to leapfrog the system. Once you have a corporation, then you can start getting funds from all over the place. Like I said, I've gotten them from Ontario, BC, California, and those funds would not have been available to me as an individual or artist. Having said that, I'm not encouraging any artist to just go out and incorporate, especially in Quebec. There's a bunch of silly stuff in Quebec. Like, we have to pay taxes like quadruply. I don't know if that's a word, but like my taxes are so complicated because I'm in Quebec, because there's like personal, there's sales tax, there's QST, GST, corporate, QST, GST. The taxes in Quebec are a nightmare. Then you have to deal with like Click Secure, which is a program that's so ridiculous. If your password has like special characters, it won't accept it. Like, we live in a province where the government website doesn't accept special characters. Like, your password's too secure to be accepted as a password. So that's to say, this program is for people that have already embraced what is necessary to grow as an artist. So if you're not there, that's totally fine. I definitely don't recommend incorporating just to get into this program. And for some artists, incorporating doesn't make sense.
So, what if you're a filmmaker in Montreal with or without a corporation, but would like to attend a networking event?
Great question, Claudia. So if you are not interested in applying for the workshops, but you are interested in joining this community and attending the networking event, then again, head over to Eventbrite, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. And once the applicants are in, then we will open the admissions on Eventbrite to filmmakers who essentially want to come to the event but aren't interested in applying for the workshops.
Amazing. I'm sure it's gonna resonate with so many people. So let's let them know how they can apply.
So here's the twist. Claudia is the program manager for this program. By the time you see this, you might already be able to apply on Eventbrite. And if that's the case, then you can click the link below or to the side, wherever it ends up, depending on what platform you're on. The workshops will be held in the window of May 28th, 29th, and 30th. We're still locking in the exact dates for the 2 workshops and networking event, but it'll be somewhere within that 3-day window.
So the workshop is actually on the May 29th and May 30th.
Great. Thank you, Program Manager Claudia.
I think that's it from us. Thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you in May.